Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this.
Shalom and blessings, family. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's your brother Bunya coming at you again with another quick hitter. The title of this is "Let Them Cut Them Off from Being a Nation." I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm speak on some stuff, but excuse me. Some of this that I'm speaking on, I think we're gonna have a little bit more of a conversation about this later on. I think it deserves a little bit more attention. But just to start it off, I want to bring your attention to the scripture within Psalms 83. I'm gonna share my screen too. Here we go. So, Psalms 83. I want to enhance that, see if I can make it bigger. So Psalms 83 says, "Keep not thou silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." Now, after that verse, you go on to verse 5 and 6, it goes into the culprits, and 7, it goes into the culprits of those who would seek to cut Israel off from being a nation. Now, the best thing you can do when concerning situations like that, you have to ask yourself, what does it mean when they say cut them off from being a nation? What's up, brother Eric? How you doing?
Peace, bro. Peace to everybody in the chat. How y'all doing? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, thanks. What comes to mind when you hear that? Let us cut them off from being a nation. How do you believe something like that could be accomplished? Or what do you think they meant by that?
Well, a number of things come to mind. If you're talking about cutting the people off from being a nation, obviously, outside of killing them off, you could just pretty much separate them from themselves, from their true heritage, from their culture. Mm-hmm. You can force them to adopt other religions, force them to serve other gods, force them to take on other names, and over time, you gave an example of that when you talked about the lion, in the zoo. And over time, that'll just wear on you. You'll lose your identity. So that's what come to mind for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I think there's been a lot of different things that's been instrumental in really making us forget who we were or who we are. And I'm glad you brought that analogy up, because it's really important for people to really see how. All right, so if they wanted to cut you off from being a nation, that means that your nation served some sort of importance within your existence, right? These are your enemies that wanted to do that. So they surely seen there was something important or something that was useful to you, understanding who you was or who you were as a nation, And when you go into the definition of nation too, it pretty much lines up with the brother Eric was saying. It says, A large body of people united by the common descent, history, culture, or language inhabiting a particular country or territory. All right? The land Israel was named after us, not us after the land of Israel. All right? So I'm saying that because before that land, the history and the culture and the language and these things were important. All right? These are the essential building blocks of someone being a nation, having a culture, having a history, a language, right? So they sought to strip you of those things. Now, when you look back into Hellenization and you look at what happened to our people, that was mostly that was definitely an attempt to cut them off from being a nation. Would you say so, brother? Hellenizing of the Israelites, our forefathers.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think it was a combination of our forefathers adopting that or wanting to get into that themselves somewhat.
Yeah, right on, man. Because I was looking through the history. You know, when you go into the Maccabees, you see that a lot of our people willingly wanted to join themselves to the heathen and make themselves uncircumcised. You know, and I think that's important to note because is a misnomer that only ethnic Gentiles can be uncircumcised, but Maccabees says that Israelites made themselves uncircumcised. So, I mean, how did you do that unless you just stop keeping up with the customs and stop circumcising your children and so on and so forth? And this was deemed an abominable act. You know, this wasn't something to be smiled upon. This was frowned upon by Israelites because that was a part of their culture and that was a mark upon them to identify who they were. You know, so those were some of the things. That was just one of the things that happened to our people. Now another thing that happened to them is them accepting the culture and the religions and the worshiping practices and languages of the Greeks. Now let me ask you brother, what's the difference between the brothers and sisters, our forefathers that were Hellenized by the Greeks and in our situation?
I think the difference is they may have been still somewhat aware of their identity. You know, whereas we're completely void of everything. I mean, we're waking up now, you know, but then in a sense, that's probably the only difference I would say. I would say in a lot of ways, you know, we've been converted to this culture in a lot of ways, but that's by force. You know, the Most High said it would be that way.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the differences, like I said, they were still aware of who they were culturally or lineage wise, whereas we, you know, like you say, been cut off, and the Most High has woke us up, and that's, you know, by His grace that we're only able to know who we are now.
Yeah, I see that also. I agree. You know, I see when I read Maccabees and I see that they were just doing those things, a mindset comes up where our people today, they don't see any value in them being a nation, and they hold to religions more so than they would being a nation, as if these religions that they're holding on to are prescribed by the Most High, and that these are something that's going to be held in high regard before the Most High, as if He's going to, you know, say all Christians to the right and all non-Christians to the left, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing why I got away from camps too, because, like, look, you dealing with a camp, it's just another religion. You know, that's what it is. And religions are subject to change they're subject to corruption because your leaders within there are the ones that's governing that, not the Most High. The Most High is not governing any of these Christian churches and none of these camps. Are there people within these camps that's trying to the best of their ability to follow the Most High? Absolutely. You know, it's a tough thing to get out because you don't want to alienate people. You know, you don't want to alienate your brothers and sisters that's waking up. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of these camps are being governed by men who don't have the people's best interests in mind. They got their pockets in mind and lining their pockets and trying to put out a certain persona like there's something that they're really not. You know?
Yeah. And you know, in that Maccabees too, it mentions how the leaders among our people went to the Gentiles and made covenants with them. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you see that today.
Yeah, exactly. That's why these camps, you know, they're all inclusive. They speak a good one, but they're really all inclusive. You know, they're really like, you know, everybody come in and, you know, we gotta get the Mexicans, we gotta get the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans. We gotta, you know, our people are scattered to those places. But when you look on these charts, man, all these charts got Eurocentric looking people. It's like, so you mean to tell me out of the Dominican Republic and out of Mexico and all these other areas where our people were scattered at, these are the people that you choose to make the face of that tribe? You know, I don't believe the 12 tribe chart is correct at all, because you can't make a broad statement like that. You can't say the Mexicans are Israelites. You can't say the Dominicans are Israelites. That's like saying the Americans are Israelites. No, the Americans are not Israelites. Are there Israelites in America? Yes. You know, so you got to do it just the same way that you do America. You got to do every nation. You're scattered through the four corners of the earth. You can't just pick a nation and say that's Israelites. You know?
Yeah. Like that's the case. You know, like I heard a brother say Pope Francis is an Israelite because he's from Venezuela.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the type of foolery that comes out from people doing that type of stuff, you know? You know, they do it because they want to be they tell you that this is a movement for our nation, but they want to be all inclusive and bring other people in for the benefit of getting their fiat currency, you know?
Yeah.
They want that fiat. So they're putting that up, but you know, these things add to the diminishing of our nation, you know. Because what happens when somebody finally steps up and tell these guys that they're not Israelites? What happens every time is they turn against us. You know, they turn against us and they start claiming that we ain't Israelites then, or they start saying the Israelite, the black Hebrew Israelite, they wicked. You know, I was teaching. I used to be a part of GOCC, and they were teaching something that I didn't agree with, or I used to be a part of this or that camp. What happened? Somebody told you wasn't no Israelite. You found out, and then they became your enemy. So when you was included with them, we was brothers. But then once you found out you wasn't no Israelite, then you turned your back on it, and that's the consequences of just letting anybody in, claiming that they're an Israelite. You know, the prescription is the curses. That's how you know. You know,
when you think about it, all it is just sort of like Christianity. You know, being inclusive, just being inclusive in an exclusive way. You know,
Exactly.
You got all these different groups that can be saved, and you know, are part of what's given to a people. Same thing.
Yeah. But it's a lot of different things that I want to show, and this is definitely a conversation that I want to continue having, because there's something else I want to bring it. The brother Cleo showed me this right here, and I'm not gonna be able to really go into it right now, But I want everybody to ponder this right here, because this right here is, it's like, all right, look, let me bring this out. Hellenistic Judaism. All right, now, if anybody can do their research on that, do your research on it. I haven't read through this completely, you know. But even just the name, right? The name just rings red flags, and you know, first of all, let's get things straight right now. Our forefathers didn't follow no Judaism or whatever that is. You know, that they didn't follow that. You know, this Judaism, this is a modern term. You know, it's modern. This just came up with when did they start naming Judaism?
Naming 48.
In 48.
I really don't know, but I know that's when they moved into that land.
Mm-hmm.
But Judaism was like what, in the 700s, something like that, maybe.
Yeah. So even within their culture, Judaism is a religion. All right. All religions are governed by idols. You know. The thing is, man, like how do you get two religions? You get Hellenized Judaism. That doesn't even make any sense. It's already Babylonian. Judaism is Babylonian. Straight up, it's Talmudism. Orthodox or unorthodox Judaism is Talmudism. Whether they want to accept it or not. To a certain extent, you know, they all have a disdain for Mashiach, and I don't care if they claim they're Messianic, it's still Talmudic. You know, I can't get into it right now because that's a real lengthy conversation, but it's all Talmudic, it's all Babylonian. You know. So in Judaism, you know, Orthodox Judaism, they already approve of, you know, blaspheming the Mashiach, his name, and you know, claiming his mother was, you know, I'm not gonna even say it, you know, but they already got abominable acts attached to that the Greeks were already practicing. Greeks were already practicing, you know, laying with mankind and eating all kinds of, you know, anything that walk on 2 or 4 legs. They was already eating whatever they want. They was already practicing and sleeping and laying with anybody they want. They was already corrupted and had laws that, you know, went according to if you had money or not. You know? So when you talk about Judaism and you put those two together, that doesn't make any sense. It's just, you could just call it either Hellenization or Judaism by itself, but they both false. But this air they try to put over there to make it seem like, you know, the Israelites back then were practicing Judaism. You know, Judaism is not a nationalistic cult. It's not a culture. That's a religion. You know, it's not a heritage.
Yeah, it's just their way of trying to define things, like how they give terms to stuff, modern day terms, you know, like homosexuality. You know, they'll say homosexuality is not in the Bible. Well, it just wasn't under that term. You know, it's a biblical term for it.
Exactly. You know, the biblical term for it would be sodomy. Sodomy. If you look, you know, and not to get graphic, but sodomy means oral or you know, rectal I don't even know how to pronounce it. Compilation. That means, look. Anyway, and then notice it oral or anal copulation. that means you're not supposed to put it anywhere that don't make babies. You know? You know, so I know some people may be struggling with some stuff, but that's just the truth of the matter. That's what it is. Sodomy is anything going in somewhere on a person that it don't belong. You know?
Yep.
But listen, I'm getting ready to go back to the office. I wanna chop it up some more about this on another time, but right now, and I want you brothers and sisters just think about that Hellenized Judaism. See if you guys can come up with some interesting stuff, and if you can, you know, post it in the comment board so I can look through it and check it out. You know. But it's been good seeing you, brother. Glad to have you on. Do you have anything you want to close out with?
No, I don't have anything, man. Peace and blessings to everybody in the chat, and peace and blessings, bro.
All right. Peace and blessings, family. This has been another quick hitter by your brother Bunyan, the salt of the earth. Israel, walk in faith, walk in grace, and walk in obedience. Shalom and blessings.